this point. Yeah, you're not wrong. But how do you plan to combat that? Do you expect me in this region or Echo in their region to just not recruit the best of the best players in the guilds upcoming under us just to allow them to get closer to us? Sounds kind of crazy when you put it like that, right? I mean, maybe you're not suggesting we can do anything about it, but just pointing out the base problem. It's not a bad take. Only way would be contracts to teams to prevent poaching. Yeah. Yeah. In semi-casual guilds, how do you feel about people being forced to play specs that are meta instead of what they're really good at? Well, literally forcing anyone to play a class they don't like is always a bad idea. I mean, I'm not even saying like you shouldn't do that for a moral reason. Like, it's literally a bad idea. Like, they will play objectively worse playing a class they don't like playing, and due to passion and due to it's less familiar. I mean, okay, this is the thing. It's not this existential problem. It occurs in every video game. 2020, 2021 is all about metagaming, man. You just play the meta. It's just a thing now. Didn't used to be. It is now. It's hard to combat it, for sure. So, I don't really know what you do about it. You just... Hopefully people learn eventually that when you're doing bosses with much higher eye level, you can... Okay, a lot of people... Okay, I'm not even just saying, like, hey, if you're doing this later on, you can kill with any comp because it's easy. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying what a lot of guild leaders don't realize is that their players will absolutely play better if they're playing a class they want to play / have played for a longer time, even if it's not as meta as the class they want them to play. They will absolutely do better. That's the thing that isn't understood. Greensy Fire, thanks for the 5 gifteds. Like, have you guys ever played a character for the first time, regardless of how good you are? Have you ever gone from a character you're extremely familiar with to one that's very foreign to you? Happened to me recently, going from playing a lot of melee to playing Ellie Shaman, right? Where when you're playing it in a raid environment or a Mythic Plus, if that's your thing, you're like, man, I'm not paying attention to fucking shit if I'm trying to do my damage right. Or your damage is dog shit when you're just paying attention to all the mechanics that are happening, depending on the situation. That's what you're asking a player to do in your guild on purpose. You're like, hey, dude, I want you to feel like that in our raids. If you look at it that way, it's ridiculous. Because you're literally asking them to do that, which is fucking nuts. Do those guilds get anything from being poached from? Fuck no. Where's Preheat? I don't know where Preheat is. So obviously, we moved on from Preheat a month ago or so. Maybe around that time. I don't know what he's done since. People have been bringing it up a lot recently, so I imagine he swapped guilds or something. Preheat US Illidan. But he doesn't say anything. I do not know what he's doing. He's still in our Discord talking to us every day. I just don't know if he's in a different guild. Preheat is in intern made this boss. I think. I have no idea where he's raiding now. Obviously, we're still cool with Preheat. I think the mental disconnect there lies in that a majority of WoW players play specs, not classes. For example, Holy Priest getting pressure to go disc. Well, there's a lot more to it than Holy Priest and disc. Like, Holy is like the easiest healer spec to play, and disc is one of the hardest. So it's usually that healers just get by playing Holy, and then they're like, hey, here's this other spec of your class. It's way harder. Play it. And then they suck. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's an example. First time catching your stream. Thanks, early out, dude. Thank you, man. People get hung up on the poaching thing. It's literally what happens in every professional sport. I don't think anyone's getting hung up on it. I mean, there's nothing to even get hung up on. Like, even if you're the guild getting poached from, which, by the way, I've been in guilds where players have been poached from them. It's happened. It's just the way of life. It just happens. There's nothing for you to get mad at the player about or the other guild. If it was done respectfully. Like, anytime we recruit someone, we ask that they finish the tier and help them as long as they need to find a replacement. I guess that's all the most you can do, rather than just telling them to, like, fuck their guild over. But obviously a lot of times for other guilds, I'm assuming it happens in a more nefarious circumstance than that. So, who knows? Why did Preheat and Limit part ways? I just went over this earlier. I don't talk about any of our roster decisions. I already told you after every raid we demote a few players to be able to recruit new players because you can't just keep adding players and never removing them. So there's always an out with the old and with the new situation. Why did Blizz make the raid so difficult in their first raid? Who knows? Fucking awesome, though. Wasn't Lighty straight up poached by Method before they fell apart? Yep. Well, that was a little bit less. Usually poaching involves... I guess it's kind of the same. Poaching usually involves, like, a player going to a better guild. But Lighty wasn't going to a better guild. He got poached to Method at the time, now Echo, because of money. Like, he just got bought out, right? But he was going to a guild currently in second, and then that guild got second again. So it's a little different, but... Lighty and Now? No, Now was always a, like, one-tier rental kind of player anyway. He wasn't going to... It wasn't realistic to expect him to continue to keep characters geared on NA and grind Mythic Plus and EU, and just alter the sleep schedules and everything. It was really fucked. So at the end of every raid, even saying every player on the 20-man roster is performing very well, you guys will still drop someone? Well, obviously not. It's not like a old way of thinking, like, well, this is always the way we've done it. We've got to cut X amount of players just because that's what we've always done. Like, no, of course not, man. If we ended a raid with players we were completely happy with and every single role we thought was crazy, which honestly, like, we're like pretty close to that. Yeah, I mean, obviously we wouldn't just kick people for no fucking reason. Like, of course not. Anytime we've demoted someone, obviously there was a reason. Right? Like, that's natural. Not a lot of raiders are going to want to continue on after a whole tier of content, too. Usually, yeah, although literally no one has quit in a very long time, but yeah. Do you expect something big for the Terragru fight? I don't know. Any rough moments from someone getting demoted? Yeah. Actually, you know what's the crazy thing about demoting people is every time you're all sitting there as officers in a channel and you're about to drag them in. I mean, obviously it's the worst situation ever and I fucking hate it. But every time you think it's going to be bad and they're going to, like, really not take it well, they take it perfectly. And every time you think it's going to be a breeze and they would totally get it, it's just a nightmare. It's the fucking weirdest thing, man. It has never been anything but the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be. The people that you demote, how do they get back on the team? Well, they usually don't. They have in the past, though. But I don't know. We just need that position again and we recruit them. Happened with Zyronic. We demoted Zyronic after Oldir and then recruited him back after Battle of Zarlor. Worst demotion story. No names, obviously. Well, it'd be hard to tell this story without it being kind of obvious who it was. But I mean, it's not really a spicy story. It's just that this person did very, very poorly anytime they were in, and they were demoted after not being in the guild for a very long period of time. And then when we got into the conversation to demote them, I thought they were going to be like, yeah, I get it, you know, thanks for your time. And they were like totally unaware that they did poorly, and it was just like, holy fucking shit, what is going on? No, the way I told it, you'd have no idea who that was. But I mean, how do you expect people to handle rejection? I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, of course you don't expect people to handle it, right? Like, I'm sitting here saying it sucks for me, which it absolutely fucking does. It is the worst thing I do in my life, is demote people from this guild. Because you're firing from their job, you're kicking them out of one of the best raid environments or team environments they've ever been in. You're kicking them out of their main thing they use to exercise their passion and hobby, all at the same time. And the worst part is, you're doing it because they haven't even done anything wrong usually. It's just that the guild's skill level has gotten higher, and they just haven't scaled with the guild, and they've become someone who's replaceable. So that's hard for me, but yeah. For all the same reasons that I just described something, it obviously sucks more for them because they're the person where all of that is happening to them. And yeah, I mean, you can't expect anyone to just be okay with it and fully accept it. That'd be a pretty rare personality trait to immediately process that information. But I mean, it's the way of the world. I think the only thing you can do is tell them exactly what they can work on and what they can do better, if you can. Because they're never going to like it at the time, but I think eventually if you were completely real with them and tried to help them in what they were struggling with, then eventually over time they can cope with it and like at least understand that. I think that's what you can do. Did you recently have to do that? Yeah, we just demoted people after this raid. So yeah. I mean, obviously they're not expected to handle that. Haven't you demoted yourself before? What? No. I think you guys are confused of what that means. Demoted means like you're no longer on the raiding roster. Like you're not a part of our like world first progression. But you're like still in the guild. You're still cool. We're cool with you most of the time, right? It's just that we have a certain amount of players who can raid and you're no longer one of them. That's it. That's what that means. Do you guys drug test for performance enhancers? No, which is good because I am just laced with G Fuel at all times. Just doing lines of G Fuel. What's the most active roster count looking like now? It's like 28. Surely most of the players at your level know exactly how good they are and can tell you when 20 or so of their peers are better than them. Yeah, most of the time, yeah. Yeah. Who's your youngest raider? Cyrith, I believe. He jokes, but no doubt tons of Race World First are popping Addy or something. You know, I actually thought that before I got into World First raiding, especially with like how crazy Blood Legion used to go with like splits and stuff. Like they kind of like amped the game up as far as how much time people were putting in. But you'd be surprised how much that's not a thing. But I mean, maybe you're looking at that like, oh sure, because you're in it. But I have no reason to like say otherwise. But I mean, it's definitely not a thing. Speaking out with the old and with the new, I missed the 9.0.5 class testing and raid. How did hunters look? Huh. Oh no. What are there one tricks in the guild? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, THD is just laced with chalkies. Do you think a sister guild would be a good move for complexity, i.e. having a guild specifically to foster talent under your watch? Yeah, we already do have a sister guild. It's every guild ranked under us. What's the plan for raid leading in Race World First is over? I mean, you just do farm. Can you explain how Shadow Priest hits all 4 pillars on Sludge? They just hit Void Form after on them, and then they produce the cooldown of it afterwards. I think. Is ranged or melee harder to play? Depends on the boss. Yeah. Future plans for you as a streamer other than WoW? I don't know. I'm just kind of vibing right now on a day-to-day basis. Who knows? Also, who knows how long WoW will be around? Who knows how long I want to do this world first rating thing? Right now, it's all I can think about, so certainly no time soon would I stop doing that. But recently, I've become more of a like WoW content creator rather than like just a raid guy, I guess. So maybe I explore those possibilities sometime in the future. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it a lot. I've just learned to appreciate life as it comes by, take time off, enjoy yourself, and do as well as you can do, and that's all you can really control, and then just whatever happens, happens. Who cares? Let's see. Is Kevin moving permanently away from melee to ranged? Right now, yeah. Rank healers from easiest to hardest? No. What's your favorite game besides WoW? Ooh. Like all time or like right now? Like right now I play a ton of Apex. I think Apex is still a really, really good BR. Think Warzone's pretty lame. Fortnite sucks. And yeah, PUBG's outdated. Play a bit of Valorant. Play Legend of Runeterra in my off time. Yeah. I don't know. This man needs to stream Apex. Yeah, Apex is fun. PUBG 2 is expected next year. Yeah, dude, when I went back and played PUBG, it was like impossible to play it. I went back to play it because I had such fond memories. And just after you're used to really good movement in a game like Apex and Warzone, you just play PUBG and it's literally unplayable because of the movement. Unplayable. I think I'm okay at Apex. Pretty good. These are my stats. So I think pretty good. It's like right around, what, like a 20%, a little bit above a 20% win rate. Right around almost a 3 KD. And stuff like that. I've always been okay at them. I think that's okay, at least. No 4K damage. My 4K damage game got ruined, man. My 4K damage game got ruined. It actually wasn't even my 3500. I've had like plenty of 3K plus damage games. I have the badge on multiple champions or heroes or whatever they're called. Dude, I was playing, so the only way to get it, so okay, getting 4K damage in Apex used to be a lot easier because everyone played really passively. Because like the way we would play is we would literally just play so aggressive when we would run at every single shot we ever heard and scrap the whole fucking game. But now, after I've came back to Apex a year later, everyone does that. Everyone. Third parties. Like, so teams die so much faster now. Yeah, teams just die so much faster now that it's hard to do. And also, if you play with 2 other good players, it's almost impossible to get 4K damage playing with other good players. Like, I know the game that Darky got when we were playing, he played with, like, 2 pugs early in the morning, and, like, they were both awful. Because, like, if you've ever played a game like Apex, it's actually not very hard to 1v3 another team if you have 2 other teammates distracting them. Even if they do no damage. Like, literally just distracting them. But it's very, very hard to 1v3 a team with them all looking and focusing at you if they're any good at all, right? So you need to play with pugs that don't do any damage and distract people and just frag out. And my one game I had, there was like 10 squads left and I had 3,100 damage. Because this team kept rezzing and oh my god, it was the best. And I don't want to fucking talk about how it ended. But let's just say There was a Wraith portal that ported me off the map, and I died, and my teammates got wiped, and they couldn't res me. Not good. I was just greeting. I downed 2 players of a squad. A Wraith ran away, and he was the last person alive in his squad, and he was trying to gate away. So I was obviously rushing him, but he chose to kill himself and jump off the edge with his Wraith portal, stop it before he died, so anyone who took it died, and I just thirsted and I got ported off the map. That guy got me good. When's the Apex stream? I don't like streaming BR games, or shooter games at all. I just like to chill. It's fun when you think like everything is with streaming, but like, I don't know, it's not always about streaming, man. Sometimes you're just trying to have fun with your friends and not worry about streaming at all. It's actually kind of a nice... If you start streaming every game you play, then every hobby you have turns into a job, kind of. Right? It's a different vibe. I had a 5K game solo queue, didn't get the 20 kill badge because randoms kept dying. Yeah. I've also, yeah, 16 is the highest I've ever gotten, yeah. It's, like I said though, I at least, that's my opinion. I think it's much harder to get 4K damage and 20 kills now than it ever did previously. Have you ever looked into raiding in Destiny? I did the first Destiny raid that came out, Destiny 2 raid. It was pretty fun. It's, I don't know if it would be enough to like feel like I was challenged really, but I think it's cool that people do that. I believe we deserve an Apex stream. I mean, shit, we can do it on another day if you guys want. Maybe on a Saturday one day. I kind of have a problem with P2 Sire. How do you guys set bursts? By the way, we are using your strategy. I have no fucking clue what that means. I have no clue what that means. Racking pain? Is that was what someone said you think he means? I don't know. Almost all of the racking pains are just on 2 mobs lined up. But sometimes they're on like certain bosses. You're just like you debuff bosses before you swap to them, I guess. CD assignment? I've never thought about CD assignment. We just like use everything on cooldown and just kill everything. Because that's what you had to do on progression. You could have never saved a CD for an ad set or you wouldn't have made the damage check. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never heard of assigning CDs in that phase. I'm not sure. Any ETA in a vid now that you felt the 9.05 changes a bit? Scroll back to the beginning of the VoD today, and I literally made that video on stream. It's just not on YouTube yet. Do you ever manage CDs from your DPS? Depending on the fight, yeah. Thoughts on healer balance? Also did that today on stream. Do you talented people in WoW type games are also good in FPS? So obviously you're not good at a game you've never played, so just to excuse the people who've never played them, right? Like I remember playing PUBG with Trill in his first time ever playing a shooter, and obviously he's bad, right? Because like he's never played a shooter in his life. But every insanely good player that I've played with in a guild like Limit is usually sick at every game, all of them. Like obviously Darky's a fair example. I don't really need to explain that too much. That guy's really good and really good at PoE, He was like, he's insanely good at like every shooter game. Atrocity is really good at every game he plays. Nori is really good at every game he plays. Lip is good at every game he plays. It's all like the people who are the best of the best in this game. That skill with time and certainly passion translates to any game, in my experience. I'm not sure if other people who play other games could also have that same feeling. I'm not sure. I'm sure they would. When you own at games, you usually own at all games if you put enough time into it. Now, some games are different and require different skill sets, right? Like, actions per minute is probably one that's hard to transfer between games. Like, you know, like some games are just so different and so specific that you wouldn't be able to pick it up quickly. StarCraft is probably one of them, right? Where it's just like a fucking crazy amount of inputs and like strategy and stuff, where getting thrown into it at the beginning is like there's no fucking way you'd ever catch up. Fighter games skill cap with like the one frame iframes and shit, like that's shit that you obviously have to spend a ton of time doing. Chess, like that's why I don't get into chess. Same reason I don't get into StarCraft. I know for a fact if I start playing chess right now, even though I find it fascinating, I know for a fact I will never be as good as I want to be, because there is so much knowledge you need to know about that game. And because of that, the barrier of entry makes me not want to start. Chess is for everybody. It's not that hard. I understand chess at a basic level. I'm saying I don't ever want to just spend a ton of time just to be average at something. That's a pretty common thing for people with ADHD, actually. Is it really? I find that interesting. Is there anything you've quit because you felt you were just average? That's not usually when I quit things. I have a very distinct pattern in things that I quit. It includes every job I've ever quit or been fired from before streaming. I actually, one of my greatest strengths is picking up things really fast. Like, really, really fast. But I usually never have the work ethic after I get really good at something and pick it up quick to ever stay consistent and get, like, way better. I usually just get really good, and then I get bored and quit. That's what happens every time. Do you have ADHD? Oh, yeah. I am riddled with ADHD. Yeah. But, like, that's my normal thing. Like, if I get a new job, I'll be super into it for, like, a month or two. I'll learn everything really fast. I'll be super excited about it. And then at one point it will become boring and my mind isn't stimulated enough, and I will quit instantly on the spot. But it's the same thing with, like, learning other things too. Being good at sports. Like, the first time I ever went on a boat with, like, and I went tubing and shit, the first time, like the second time I went on the tube for the first time, I got it. And on the second time, I'm already trying to, like, do fucking, you know, when you go and you hit a tight enough corner and you can, like, rip the tube and do, like, flips and shit. I'll always do that. Water skiing, all of it. Try to do flips instantly. Like, I'm always trying to push myself when I learn that stuff. But then once I learn it at a base level, it gets boring and I don't want to do it. What do you think of the golden age of videos have been if you could pick a span a few years? Video games or videos? Dude, why am I still streaming? I'm just kind of hanging out with you guys. Is it normal or is that just ADHD? I have no idea how much of it's ADHD and how much of it's me, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of people with ADHD describe what I just said, though. Because ADHD people have a really hard time, like, being interested in one specific thing, but usually for the one specific thing that they are into, they get, like, really, really into it. For me, that thing is WoW, and that thing is raid leaning. So I'm never distracted when I'm doing that. But almost everything else, it's, like, fucking awful. Like, it's really bad. Like, I'll walk across my house, dude, and I'll be like, oh, I need to go get this. And then I'll get halfway there and, like, forget why I went there, and then I'll get distracted and I'll do something else, and it's fucking, dude, you should talk to my girlfriend about it if you ever do. She streams sometimes. She would be like, tell you stories for an hour. That's just called being old, not ADHD. That is not true. A lot of that is subconscious fear of failing too. You get good enough quickly because you're smart, but then you have to put serious effort in to take it to the next level and you drop it. That's exactly what you just said is right. Kids? Oh, fuck no. Are you asking me if I have kids? Oh, God. No, no. Absolutely not. Jesus. Dude, I'm actually thinking of my life right now. If I would have had a kid like last year or 2 years ago, what that would have done to me. Dude, I wouldn't be here right now. I would have had to like go work at some store to like pay for a kid. You have a ton of kids you're babysitting here? No, they're not kids. Some of them are kids. There's a few kids, but most of them are adults like me. You don't think Max is ready to raid lead a kid? No. Maybe I'll have a kid sometime later when I'm like more settled down, I guess. I'm just not really interested in that at all. I don't even know. I think it's like I'm selfish. Like I think I'm too interested in my own career development and myself to want to have my life totally change and have it all be about a kid, if I'm being honest. I think. Maybe a lot of people feel that way. I just feel like I'm not where I want to be yet. And until I'm there, I feel like having a kid would just slow me down. But I'm sure one day I'll wake up and that'll be different. And then maybe I'll start popping out kids like a halftime performer with a t-shirt gun, just like fucking. What's up, baby girl? I know. Hi. Hi. You're getting low-key deep. How are you doing? I'm just chilling. I feel like I'm pretty deep, open, and personal at times when I need to be or are asked. I don't really care. I think that's the trick, dude. You just gotta not give a fuck what anyone thinks about you, and then life is much better. That's the trick. That did not used to be the case, man. I used to fucking think about that all the time. Just be you at all times, and then hopefully that's good. But I guess that's not always true. Like, obviously, if you're like, you know, if you're starting a new job or something, like, you obviously want your boss or the person who hired you to think highly of you because you just got a job. I just mean, like, as a content creator, it's very important to have thick skin. You know, if you have 6,000 viewers, like I get pretty much daily now, at some point, you know, one of them is going to type something in chat that's going to make you mad because there's just that many people. If you have 6,000 people, there's bound to be a small percentage of people who have bad takes and probably hate you for some reason. And like, people hate watch your stream like they would hate watch a TV show. And like, you just gotta, like, I don't know, you just have to not care. Yeah. Much easier said than done, though. Are Great Danes just potatoes? Yeah. Yeah, they just literally fucking lay here. How many people have survived a shark kidney? Literally not one person has ever done that. What do you do to burn off their energy? Let them go to a park and they sprint for like an hour. And then they come home. And they are tired. Were you glad that you grew up before social media was a thing? I was in 8th grade when iPhones came out, and I feel like I hit that at the perfect time. I've never thought about that, but I think so. Because it's kind of crazy looking at it now. Like, I have a pretty young nephew, and I've seen him grow up entirely since he was a baby. He's like 11 now. And life is just so different, man. Like, you go to one of their birthday parties, and they're just all on the couch playing Fortnite. This was a couple years ago when Fortnite was huge. I mean, it's obviously still big, just like when it was bigger. Like, it's just totally fucking different, man. I just, like, that was totally different than my childhood. But do I think I'm happy that I did skip it? I mean, I don't know. Do you think, or you have to ask yourself, would you just be a totally different person if social media was around when you were a kid? Maybe. Every generation's slightly different, I guess. They have, like, little things about them. I'm not sure. Like, it'll sound all nostalgic and boomer-like, I guess, but, like, playing Legends of Zelda, like, near when that came out when I was young, Ocarina of Time, playing Halo when it first came out on Legendary with your friend, stuff like that. I feel like that forged a lot of, like, who I am today and, like, what I enjoy in games. And, like, people who are young now are just, like, playing Fortnite from the fucking jump, you know? It's just different. So, like, I don't know if that changes anything, but yeah, I don't know. Social media is kind of like hell on earth. So I guess if the general question being asked if social media is if less of my life will be consumed with social media than someone born after me, then that's probably good. Dude, social media is like, it's honestly like, I hate... You know what I hate more than anything else, man? Like, dude, people who do bad things should get punished for it, for sure. Especially if it's really bad. Don't get me wrong. But cancel culture just fucking... I hate it, dude. Like, it should be about reformation, people making a mistake, reforming from it, and growing from it. And getting better. And, like, social media now just has people... make a mistake. Again, some of them very bad. They should absolutely be punished for it. And it's like there's this mob of people that just want you, no matter what your mistake is, it's like they just want you to just lose everything. It's like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. They don't even know the deal. They don't even know the whole story. They're just like fucking... Oh, man. It's a touchy subject, though, because there are absolutely people who deserve, from what they did, to certainly lose their platform and be punished for it. Like, I remember this happened a while ago. It was a WoW streamer. I don't know if you guys will know this guy's name, but, like, this guy's, like, 30 years old or something, and he was, like, streaming classic WoW, and then it got found out because someone doxed him that he was arrested for, like, some crime when he was 21. I don't know. It was something bad, though. It wasn't rape. It was like, it was I think it was just like, I forget exactly what it was, but it was like some weird shit, like something you shouldn't do for sure. Like, yeah, sex with a minor or something like that. It was or pedophilia, something like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously bad. But then this guy's like 7 years older. He literally went to jail for it. He got out of jail and is obviously offered to live a new life. Now, obviously, I think anytime, especially if you're a content creator, you should have that information public, because if someone's going to follow you, you shouldn't necessarily be canceled for something you did 10 years ago and obviously went to jail and learned from and moved on, because every human deserves that. But, you know, people also who are watching you need to obviously have that information.
no heroes. Bring the mojo back and help me put this whole lower in its place. So small, so weak. Darkness be mine to command. Darkness be mine to command. Beware. Your life be mine. The shadows take ya. So small, so weak. You best hurry. The price don't matter now. Foolish mortals, leaving a true God are dead. You are never care about your people. Father of sleep. You can't be holding me forever. There be no escape. Darkness be mine. Beware. Your life be mine. So small, so weak. The shadows take ya.
How exhaustingly predictable.
Darkness
But then I
be
suppose
mine.
failure is natural to your kind.
Darkness be mine. Beware. Your life be mine. So small, so weak. The shadows take ya. You best hurry. The price don't matter now. Foolish mortals, leaving a true God are dead. Darkness be mine to command. Beware. Your life be mine. So small, so weak. The shadows take ya. Darkness be mine to command. You're just mortals. How this be? Times change, man. Mortals never be as weak as you believe them to be. You see, they have potential. But don't you be worrying about a thing. You're gonna be having plenty of time to learn from your mistakes. You did good, hero, yeah. But what Mozala got coming, he ain't for mortal eyes. Take your trinkets and be gone with ya.
That be some big talk one Sunday, but you be nothing before the jailer.
You better watch your tongue, little thing. One someday the boss man now.